Okay, this is part 3. I have 37 minutes. I'll babble on for a good 7 minutes, and I'll start reading Conspiracy Unmasked of Lord of the Rings. Obviously. It's Conspiracy Unmasked. Right? So I'm gonna keep saying this, world. All you aspiring actors out there, I'm gonna keep saying it. I don't mean to expose Hollywood like this, okay? At the end of the day, Hollywood's the best of the best. If you want to make your millions as an actor and be a famous star, Hollywood's the best of the best. Hence, these actors have no choice but to be in the Hollywood system. Because it's the best of the best, and that's where you make your millions, obviously. Hence, these actors have no choice. They have no choice, but I told you there's a catch. If you want to get into the Hollywood system, you have to bow the knee to the system, obviously. You have to bow the knee to the system. And the moment you bow the knee to the system, you now become one of them, obviously. Hence, the people in Hollywood, they see all these average people as free, as people who are free, whereas they're not free. Like, oh my God, they're slaves. They're all slaves. Whereas all the people around the world who are average working people, they all see them as free people, obviously. It's actually funny. They see them as free. In other words, in other words, the people who are free, they envy the Hollywood celebrities because of their wealth and fame, whereas the Hollywood celebrities envy the average person because they have freedom. So you see how both sides envy each other, obviously. Because the average person obviously envies the Hollywood celebrity because the Hollywood celebrity is rich and famous, obviously, right? But there's a catch. Even though the Hollywood celebrities, rich and famous, are not free, they're slaves. Whereas the Hollywood celebrities envies a free person because even though they envy them because they have freedom and they don't have freedom, obviously. It's actually funny. Obviously, it's actually very funny. Hence why everyone really, really envies me, because I get the best of both worlds. After I pay this horrific fee, I'm not only going to be free with my wife, I'm also going to be rich. I'm not only going to be rich, I'm going to be very, very rich. I'm going to be a multi-billionaire. I'm going to be richer than all these Hollywood celebrities. So I'm not only richer than all these Hollywood celebrities, I'm also free. Whereas all these rich Hollywood celebrities, yeah, they're rich, but none of them are free. They're all dirty slaves, man. Because they sold out to the Hollywood system. That's how it works in this world. If you want to be in the Hollywood system, you have to bow the knee to the Hollywood system. And once you bow the knee to the Hollywood system, you now become one of them. That's how it works in this world. So everyone in Hollywood, they see each other as what? People who are slaves. They see each other as slaves to the Hollywood system. Oh my God, like they're now one. In other words, once you sell your soul, you're now one of them. You're now one of them. It's like a code. You're now one of them. You now become one of them and all that stuff. And the Hollywood celebrities all envy because Hollywood celebrities, what people don't know, the Hollywood celebrities, they envy the average person because the average person has freedom. That's because every Hollywood celebrity's dream is to have freedom, but there's no such thing as freedom in Hollywood. The Hollywood celebrities also envy the average person. They wish they can have their freedom. Whereas the average person envies the average free person envies a Hollywood celebrity because they wish they could be rich and famous, obviously. But there's a catch. To be rich and famous, you have to what? You have to sell your soul. Hence, you're no longer free once you sell your soul, obviously. You're a dirty slave. Hence, every Hollywood actor's dream is to have freedom, obviously. Right? And once you join the system, there's no getting out, obviously. There's some actors who retire and all that stuff, but chances are if they retire and they get their freedom, they no longer have money, they're no longer rich. Obviously. So once you join the Hollywood system, there's pretty much no getting out. Once you become one of them, you're officially one of them, obviously. You can retire and you can retire from acting if you want to, but if you retire from acting and you no longer want to be a part of the system, you now no longer have any source of income and you're no longer rich. Obviously, right? You no longer have money coming in, obviously. That's how it works. If you want to have money coming in, you got to sell your soul. That's how it works in this world. I don't need to expose Hollywood like this, okay? To all you aspiring actors, if you want to be in the Hollywood system and you want to be a famous celebrity, go right ahead. As even though you sold your soul for fame and fortune, at least being a movie star and being famous and being rich, you're still living a decent life, obviously. So even though you sold your soul and you're not free and you're a slave, the fact that you made your millions and you're a movie star or a television star, you can still live a decent life for yourself. But I told you, chances are you're going to be miserable because you sold your soul. That's why I guarantee you a lot of Hollywood actors even watch my videos for comfort and that kind of stuff. Because Ivan O'Meara is the last hope for me. I'm saying because Ivan Ramirez Skyster's company is what? I guarantee you a lot of Hollywood actors even watch my videos for comfort and that kind of stuff. Because I'm God, a lot of people around the world watch my videos for comfort, obviously, because I'm God, obviously. Because especially the Hollywood celebrities, a lot of them probably watch my videos for comfort because why? A lot of them are very miserable and all that stuff. When Ivan starts Skyster, he's my last hope to freedom, obviously. Because there's no such thing as freedom in the Hollywood system. In Hollywood, you're a dirty slave and you're not free. There's no such thing as freedom in Hollywood, man. I'm gonna keep saying this. So I'm gonna give a warning to all you aspiring actors who want to be in the Hollywood system. Go into the Hollywood system. Your chance of getting in is very slim, by the way. But if you want to get into the Hollywood system, be a famous star, go right ahead. I'm just saying you're gonna have to pay a horrific price to make that money and to be famous. That's how it works. Whereas for my Skyster's company, you don't have to pay any price. You get your freedom. The only price you'll pay is you have to put up with unheard of fame. Putting up with fame can be really annoying. Obviously, you have to put up with the fame, but at least I'm willing to grant you freedom if you work for my company. And it's every actor's ultimate dream is to work for my company, because for my company you get the best of both worlds. You not only get a rich salary, you also get your freedom. So you get your wealth, you get your fame, and you also get your freedom, which is every rich person's dream, obviously. And there's no such thing as being rich and free in this world. As we live in a crazy, wicked world, obviously. Because I'm holy and I'm good, because I'm a good man, I would never ever have an actor pay a price to be rich. As I'm a clean business person, I'm not a fan of dirty business. There's nothing worse than being a dirty businessman. Being a fucking dirty businessman. No, man. I'm not going to have these actors pay a price. They're going to get their freedom when they work for my company. And that's why Skysters will be the best brand in the entertainment industry. Now, enough about me babbling on. I'm going to start reading. So I hope you guys understand. I hope all you aspiring actors out there, Hollywood actors out there, see what I'm saying. If you want to get into the Hollywood system, you have to pay a price. That's how it works, man. I'm not going to sugarcoat and say everything's going to be right. No, man. If you want to make your millions and if you want to make your $900,000 for your television show, your $500,000 for your television show, your $2 million, your $3 million for your movie, you have to pay a price for that, man. There's no such thing as freedom in Hollywood. Just give you a heads up, right? And if you make it the Hollywood system, congratulations. I'm just saying that once you're in the system, you're now one of them and you're no longer free. Yeah, there you go. That's why my wife is so proud of me, because I saved her fucking ass and I got her out of the Hollywood system. Right, so now I will start reading Lord of the Rings. I have 30 minutes left on my phone. I will read 6 pages. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll read up to 133. So this is Chapter 5, A Conspiracy Unmasked. So for those of you guys who want to get an idea of what happened in Chapter 4, Shortcut to Mushrooms, you can go back and watch my old videos. That way you get an idea of what happened in Chapter 4, obviously. When they meet Faramir and Maggon and they meet Mary. So right now I'm in the part where they just met Mary, okay? This is Chapter 5, Conspiracy Unmasked. Now we had better get home ourselves, said Mary. There's something funny about all this, I see, but it must wait till we get in. They turned down the ferry lane, which was straight and well kept, and edged with large whitewashed stones. In 100 yards or so it brought them to the river bank, where there was a broad wooden landing stage. A large flat ferry boat was moored beside it. The white bollards near the water's edge glimmered in the light of 2 lamps on high posts. Behind them the mist in the flat fields were now above the hedges, but the water before them was dark, with only a few curling wisps like steam among the reeds by the bank. There seemed to be less fog on the further side. This is all descriptions, right? Mary led the pony over a gangway onto the ferry. So Frodo and them are now at Buckleberry, right? Buckleberry Ferry, right? That's why Mary says Buckleberry Ferry, right? Mary led the pony over a gangway onto the ferry, and the others followed. Mary then pushed slowly off with a long pole. The Brandywine flowed slow and broad before them. On the other side the bank was steep, and up it was winding path climbed from the further landing. Lamps were twinkling there. Behind loomed up the Buck Hill, and out of it, through stray shrouds of mist, shone many round windows, yellow and red. They were the windows of Brandyhall, the ancient home of the Brandybucks, obviously. So they're seeing that they what? They see windows. They see round windows for the Brandyhall, who were from the home of the Brandybucks. Obviously, right. Long ago, Gorenhad, Oldbuck, head of the Oldbuck family, one of the oldest in the Marish or indeed in the Shire, had crossed the river, which was the original boundary of the land eastwards. He built and excavated Brandyhall, changed his name to Brandybuck, and settled down. So you're getting a little history of the Brandybuck, right? and settled down to become master of what virtually a small independent country. His family grew and grew, and after his days continued to grow until Brownie Hill occupied the whole of the low hill and had three large front doors, many side doors, and about 100 windows. The Brownie Bucks and their numerous dependents then began to grow. So you're getting history of the Brownie Bucks, obviously. The Brownie Buck village or town, the family, all that stuff, right? The Brownie Bucks and their numerous dependents then began to burrow and later to build all around about. That was the origin of Buckland, right? It's the origin of Buckland, obviously. A thickly inhabited strip between the river and the old forest, a sort of colony from the Shire. Its chief village was Bucklebury, obviously, clustering in the banks and slopes behind Brownie Hall. The people on the Marish were friendly with the Bucklanders, and the authority of the master of the hall, as the head of the Brownie Buck family was called, and still acknowledged by the farmers between Stock and Rushy. But most of the folk of the old Shire regarded the Bucklanders as peculiar, half foreigners as it were, though as a matter of fact they were not very different from other hobbits of the Four Farthings, except in one point they were fond of boats, and some of them can swim. So you're getting the history of the Brownie Bucks, obviously. This is all what? Blah, 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 right? Their land was originally unprotected from the east, but on that side they had built the hedge, the highway. It had been planted many generations ago and was now thick and tall, for it was constantly tended. It ran all the way from Brandywine Bridge in a big loop curving way from the river to Haysend, where the withy window flowed out of the forest into the Brandywine. So Tolkien's going on to his lengthy description, obviously, about Brandy Buck, all that stuff, right? The Brandywine family, the village, and Buckland, Bucklebury Ferry, village, all land, all stuff. Well over 20 miles from end to end. But of course, it was not a complete protection. The forest drew close to the hedge in many places. The Bucklanders kept their doors locked after dark, and that also was not usual in the Shire. The ferry boat moved slowly across the water. The Buckland shore drew nearer. Sam was the only member of the party who had not been over the river before. He had a strange feeling as the slow gurgling stream slipped by. His old life lay behind the mist. Dark adventure lay in front. He scratched his head, and for a moment had a passing wish that Mr. Frodo could have gone on living quietly at Bag End. Before Hobbit stepped off the ferry, Merry was tying it up, and Pippin was already leading the pony upon the path, when Sam, who had been looking back as if to take farewell of the Shire, said in a hoarse whisper, "Look back, Mr. Frodo, do you see anything?" On the far stage, under the distant lamps, he could just make out a figure. It looked like a dark black bundle left behind, but as he looked it seemed to move away and sway this way and that, as if searching the ground. It then crawled or went crouching, back into the gloom beyond the lamps. "What in the Shire is that?" exclaimed Merry. "Something that is following us," said Frodo, "but don't ask any more now. Let's get away at once." They hurried up in the path to the top of the bank. When they look, so they suspect something's following them, obviously. My theory is it's a Black Rider, obviously. Because the Black Riders can sense the power of the ring. Hence why they're constantly on the tail of Frodo and all of them. Because the Black Riders can sense the presence of the ring, obviously. I don't know if it's a Black Rider, but my guess is it's a Black Rider. And because the Black Riders can sense the power of the ring. In other words, the Black Riders were on their tail to the point whereby they end up crossing paths with the hobbits and they end up stabbing Frodo, obviously. They're constantly on their tail because they can sense the presence of the ring, obviously. That's my theory. Obviously, right? "What in the Shire is that?" exclaimed Merry. "Something that is following us," said Frodo, "but don't ask any more now. Let's get away at once." They hurried up the path to the top of the bank, but when they looked back, the far shore was shrouded in mist, and nothing could be seen. "Thank goodness you don't keep any boats on the west bank," said Frodo. "Can the horses cross the river? They can go 10 miles north of Brandywine Bridge, or they might swim," answered Merry, "though I have never heard of any horse swimming in the Brandywine. But what have horses to do with it? I'll tell you later. Let's get indoors and we can talk." "All right, you and Pippin know your way, so I'll just ride on and tell Fat Balger that you are coming. We'll see about supper and things." "We had our supper early with Farmer Mankin," said Frodo. "We could do with another." "You shall have it. Give me that basket," said Merry, and rode ahead into the darkness. It was some distance from the Brandywine to Frodo's new house at Crickhollow. They passed Buck Hill and Brownie Hall on their left, and the outskirts of Bucklebury struck the main road of Buckland that ran south from the bridge. Half a mile northward along this way came to a lane opening on their right. This they followed for a couple of miles as they climbed up and down into the country. At last they came to a narrow gate in a thick hedge. Nothing could be seen of the house in the dark. It stood back from the lane in the middle of a wide circle of lawn, surrounded by a belt of low trees inside the outer hedge. Frodo had chosen it because it stood in and out away of a corner of the country. There was no other dwellings close by. You can get in and out without being noticed. It had been built a long while before by the Browniebucks for use of the guests. So this chapter is pretty much, you get the history of the Browniebuck family and the village and all that stuff. The village. And it's also Frodo's. It's pretty much Frodo's, Sam what? Frodo, Sam, Merry Pippin's adventure to what? Through Buckleberry and through the river, whatever it is, right? They crossed the river, I believe. They through Brandy Hall, through Buckleberry and through the river and all that stuff. Their journey. That's pretty much what this chapter's about, pretty much. Tolkien goes into his frenzy, right? And again, if I comment and make an error, you have to bear with me, as I'm not well grounded in this book, obviously. Because it stood in and out of the other way corner of the country, and there was no other dwellings close by. You could get in and out without being noticed. It has been built a long while before by the Browniebucks, for the use of guests or members of a family that wished to escape from the crowd life of Brandy Hall for a time. It was an old-fashioned countrified house, as much like a hobbit hole as possible. It was long and low, with no upper story, and it had a roof of turf, round windows, and a large round door. As they walked up the green path from the gate, no light was visible. The windows were dark and shuttered. Frodo knocked on the door, and Fatty Bulger opened it. Our friendly, so they meet Fatty Bulger, obviously, right? Right. They walked up the green path from the gate, so they spot their journey, and they meet Fatty Bulger, obviously. They go to his house. A friendly light streamed out. They slipped in quickly and shut themselves in the light inside. They were in a wide hall with doors on either side. Again, this is not in a movie, by the way, right? In front of them, a passage ran back down the middle of the house. Well, what do you think of it? Asked Mary, coming up the passage. We have done our best in a short time to make it look like home. After all, Fatty and I only got here with the last cart load yesterday. Frodo looked around. It did not look like home. Many of his own favorite things, or Wiggle's things, they reminded him, shy of him in their new setting, were arranged as nearly as possible as they had been at Bag End. It was a pleasant, comfortable, welcoming place, and he found himself wishing that he was really coming here to settle down in quiet retirement. It seemed unfair to have put his friends to all this trouble, and he wondered again how he was going to break the news to them, that he must leave them so soon, indeed at once. If that would have to be done that very night before they all went to bed. It's delightful, you said with effort. I hardly feel that I have moved at all. So now they arrive to the Fatty Bulger's house, whatever it is, right? And get ready for one of the songs, one of the boring songs, right? 2 more pages and I'll end it here. I'll continue the rest tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll read another 7 pages. I'll read 7 pages tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll read up to 140. And the next day I should finish the remaining of the chapter. Oh, tomorrow? No, I'll be done. I'll read 6 pages today. Tomorrow I'll read 7.5 pages and I'll be done chapter 4. And this chapter is very boring because it's just about the history of the Browniebucks, pretty much, and Frodo them crossing the river, and through what the going through Buckleberry and all that stuff. You get the history of the Browniebucks, and they finally go to Fatty Bulger's house. They finally go to this house, Frodo's house in Crickhollow, I believe, or something like that, right? They go to some house in Crickhollow. The travelers hung up their cloaks and piled their packs on the floor. Mary led them down the passage and threw open a door at the far end. Firelight came out and a puff of steam. "A bath!" cried Pippin. "Oh, blessed Meriadoc! Which order shall we go in?" said Frodo. "Eldest first, or quickest first. You'll be last either way, Master Peregrine. Trust me to arrange things better than that," said Mary. "We can't begin life at Crickhollow with a quarrel over baths." Yeah, so they're at the house in Crickhollow. In that room there are 3 tubs and a copper full of boiling water. There are also towels, mats, and soaps. Get inside and be quick. Mary and Fatty went, so they go to Fatty's house in Crickhollow. They crossed through the river, I believe, if I'm correct. I don't know if they crossed the river, but they went through Buckleberry, and they end up arriving to this guy's house, Fatty Bulger's house, in Crickhollow, whatever it is. And I believe they crossed the river too. Obviously, we can't begin life at Crickhollow with a quarrel over baths. In that room there are 3 tubs and a copper full of boiling water. There are also towels, mats, and soaps. Get inside and be quick. Mary and Fatty went to the kitchen on the other side of the passage. and busy themselves with the final preparations for a late supper. Again, you might hear the noise upstairs. Someone's dancing. Snatches of competing songs came from the bathroom mixed with the sound of splashing and wallowing. The voice of Pippin was suddenly lifted up above the others in one of Bilbo's favorite bath songs. Here goes one of Tolkien's boring songs again, right? Sing hey for bath at close of day that washes the weary and away. A loon is he that will not sing. O water hot is a noble thing. O sweet is the sound of falling rain, and the brook that leads from hill to plain. But better than rain or rippling streams is water hot that smokes and steams. O water cold we may pour at need down a thirsty throat and be glad indeed. But better is beer a drink we lack, and water hot poured down the back. O waters fair that leaps on high, in a fountain white beneath the sky. But never did fountain sound so sweet, a splashing hot water with my feet. These songs get, when you read the Tom Bombadil chapter, the songs get really, really annoying, man. You have like pages worth of songs. It's really annoying. Last pager, and I'll end my read along for Conspiracy Unmasked, and tomorrow I'll finish off chapter 4, which is a short chapter and it's pretty boring. It's just about the history of the Brownie Bucks. They're journeying through the ferry Buckleberry, and they cross the river, and they end up meeting what? They end up arriving at Fatty Bulger's house in Crick Hollow. That's pretty much chapter 4, pretty much, right? There was a terrific splash and a shout of woe from Frodo. It appeared that a lot of Pippin's bath had imitated a fountain that leaped on high. Merry went to the door. What about supper and beer in the throat? What about supper and beer in the throat, he called. Frodo came out, drying his hair. There's so much water in the air that I'm coming into the kitchen to finish, he said. Locks, said Merry, looking in. The stone floor was swimming. You ought to mop all that up before you get anything to eat, Peregrine, he said. Hurry up, or we shan't wait for you. They had supper in the kitchen, on a table near the fire. I suppose you three won't want mushrooms again, said Fredegar, without much hope. Yes, we shall, cried Pippin. They're mine, said Frodo, given to me by Mrs. Maggot, a queen among farmer wives. Take your greedy hands away, and I'll serve them. Obviously, right? So Mrs. Maggot gave Frodo some mushrooms, obviously, right? Hobbits have a passion for mushrooms, surpassing even the greediest things of big people. A fact which partly explains young Frodo's long expedition to the renowned fields of the Marish and the wrath of the injured Maggot. On this occasion there was plenty for all, even according to Hobbit standards. There were also many things to follow, and when they had finished, even Fatty Bulger heaved a sigh of content. They pushed back the table and drew chairs round the fire. We'll clear up later, said Merry. You might hear the noise upstairs. Someone's dancing. You have to excuse the noise. We'll clear up later, said Merry. Now tell me all about it. I guess that you have been having adventures, which was not quite fair without me. I want a full account, and most of all, I want to know what was the matter with old Maggot and why he spoke to me like that. He sounded almost as if he was scared, if that possible. We have all been scared, obviously. The reason why Mr. Maggot is scared, in my opinion, is because I believe the forces of Sauron, obviously, the Black Riders, obviously. Even though Faramir Maggot doesn't understand why Frodo left the Shire, he knows that Frodo's journey is dangerous, obviously. Hence why he's scared, obviously, right? Right. Why he spoke to me like that? He sounded almost as if he was scared, if that is possible. We have all been scared, said Pippin after a pause, in which Frodo stared at the fire and did not speak. You would have been too, if you had been chased for 2 days by Black Riders. See what I'm saying? So the reason why Faramir gets scared is because of the Black Riders, obviously, like Merry said here. Obviously. Like Pippin said here. Because for 2 days, the Black Riders were following him. So this is it for my read-along for today. I'm on page 134. I will finish off Conspiracy Unmasked tomorrow. Obviously. So there's not that much to explain. Pretty much chapter 5 is pretty much what? Frodo and them meet Merry in the beginning. They go through they cross through the river, whatever it is, on the ferry, whatever it is. You got the history of the Brownie Buck family, all that stuff, right? They end up going to Fatty Bulger's, Mr. Bulger's house, Fatty Bulger's house, whatever his name is, and Crick Hollow, and they end up staying there. They have dinner and they speak, and what? And in the end of what I read, They said the Hobbit said that Mr. Maggot looked scared. Why? Because the Black Riders were searching for what? For Frodo, obviously, because they can sense the presence of the ring, obviously. And I believe the Black Riders are constantly on their tail because they can sense the power of the ring. That's my theory, obviously, which I'm probably correct. The reason why the Black Riders are constantly on their tail is because they can sense the power of the ring, obviously. And then tomorrow I'll be finishing chapter 5, which is Conspiracy Unmasked. Conspiracy Unmasked, and I'll be moving on to the Old Forest when they cross through the Old Forest. And after the Old Forest, you're in the Tom Bombadil chapter. That's an interesting chapter, man. Tom Bombadil's a boring chapter, but if you read it out loud, Tom Bombadil's a pretty interesting character. He's not affected by the ring. He doesn't care about the ring. He's not affected by the ring. He has his beautiful wife, Goldberry, or daughter. It's either his daughter or his wife. I don't remember. He has a beautiful wife or a daughter named Goldberry. He's not tempted by the ring. He doesn't care about the ring. You know what I'm saying? And he sings all these songs like Bombadillo, Bombadillo, Tom Bombadillo. You know what I'm saying? I remember that when I read the book, obviously. So yeah, so tomorrow I'll be finishing chapter. I have about 10 minutes left on my phone. 11 minutes left on my phone. Tomorrow I'll be finishing chapter 5. And I'll continue on with the Old Forest. I'm feeling a lot better now, so I can pump out more videos daily, obviously. Whereas yesterday I wasn't feeling as good. And that's why I skipped a day. But today I made a video, obviously. And yeah. After this video, I'm going to upload it, take a shower. And then I'm going to walk to the store, get a pack of smokes. And then after that, I will come back home and enjoy the show. And I'll watch more YouTube videos. So the next 10 minutes, I'll just babble on. I'll talk more about, I don't know, what else is there to talk about here? Yeah, so my Skystars company, I want to keep saying this, my Skystars company will be the best brand. I have 10 minutes here. My Skystars company will be the best brand in the entertainment business. It'll be bigger than Disney Film Studios, Warner Bros., Paramount, Universal. And that's why my wife is so proud of me. Because of me, we get to own our own company bigger than all those Hollywood companies. I'm going to keep saying it. It's a countdown's ticking, man. I'm making the announcement this October, man. This late October, I'm done, man. And once I make the announcement within a good week's time, the stuff time is because once I make the announcement, I'm going to immediately go upstairs and let my family know I've done my book. And eventually they're going to sit me upstairs, obviously. They're going to sit me upstairs. Because they know I've done my book now and I have the keys, they're going to eventually sit me upstairs. And their true nature is going to show. And once I find out how wicked you are, that is it forever. I'm making more videos for you, man. Once I find out that I have to die, and I have to have sex with hundreds of women, especially having sex with my stepmother, that's fucking gross. The fact that you made me do that, and also having me have sex with hundreds of women, even 1,000 women, that had me suffer death afterwards, that is it for Alvin and Mary. I'm not making more videos for you. I don't play around with death. I don't play around with dirt and garbage. I'm going to keep saying that, man. I was willing to save my virginity for my wife because you guys are selfish people. You want to have me have sex with hundreds of people before I can even see my wife because you guys are selfish people, obviously. You want your full cake, obviously. You want to know what it's like to see I have sex, even though us seeing them have sex is none of your fucking business. Why? I don't understand. Seeing me and my wife have sex is none of your fucking business, and you make it your business. If I forced you to pay a fee so I can see you have sex, you guys would tell me to fuck off. It's none of your business. And when it's Iron and Media, you make it your business. When it's none of your fucking business, you can see me have sex or not. I'm not your husband. She's not your wife. And you make it your fucking business because you guys are selfish people, man. You're nothing but a mess and I've made, man. Once I find out how wicked you are, that's it for Alvin and Mary, man. I'm going to break down tears. I'm going to cry my eyes out knowing I have to die. I'm going to get this feat over with. And that day will have, I'm going to have sleepless nights knowing that I'm going to die. And once that day happens and I go in that room, next second I'm there, the next second I wake up. I got death over with, thank God. I cry my eyes out. At the same time, I jump for joy after because I know I got death over with. My wife is now fresh. No more crying at night. She can see me. At the same time, I know I'm going to have financial control. I'm going to live forever in this world. I'm going to have the glowing beauty. I'm going to be a movie star. I'm going to be a famous author. Yeah, man. Once I wake up from that hostel, I'm going to cry my eyes out. At the same time, I'm going to be happy because I know I'm about to get that check. I'm going to be a multi-billionaire. I'm going to get to read my Last of Us Zane's book. I'm going to experience the buzz of my Last of Us Zane's book. Best fantasy novel written, better than even Lord of the Rings. I'm gonna get to see my wife after 40 days. I'm gonna tell her, don't see me. I'm gonna tell my wife, I don't want you coming to see me right away. Wait, let me say my final 4-day goodbyes. And then once I get that check, I will come and see you in Los Angeles. I'm gonna tell her, do not come and visit me. I don't have to tell her. She'll know. VJ's watching my videos. I'm gonna tell VJ, I don't want you coming to see me. I don't want you coming to see me. What? When I come back from death, I want you. Give me 40 days. Let me see my final 4 days, my final 4-day goodbyes in Elmer. Wait until I get that check. And once I get that check, I will stay at a hotel for 10 days in Elmer. And after those 10 days, I'll fly probably to Los Angeles and I'll see you. I save the surprise, obviously. And once I see you, I'm taking out to the throne with it. I'm never looking back, man. I'm gonna live my life, and you girls can live your life. Because you made me pay my wife, you're also gonna pay. I'm gonna keep saying that, man. You made me pay a price when I didn't do anything wrong. What did I do to deserve this? I didn't do anything wrong to deserve this because you can't see me. Because of my holy nature, I deserve this. Because I'm allergic to STDs, you're gonna make me pay a price to be my wife. When it's not my fault. I'm a holy fucking man. I'm not interested in STDs. It's not my fault why you can't see me. It's a part of my holy nature. I'm not compatible with STDs. You guys are blind because you guys are crazy people, obviously. If a kid's allergic to peanuts, you guys understand. When Ivan's allergic to STDs, you don't understand because you're blinded by your envy, obviously. You so badly, I don't care. I want to have sex with Ivan so bad. Even though Ivan's holy and he's what? He's not compatible with STDs. It's not my fault, man. You guys don't see it because you guys are crazy people. Yeah, man. It's not my fault. Oh my god. That's how I know you guys are actors. When the kid's allergic to peanuts, if you feed him peanuts, you're evil, Ivan. If I fed a kid peanuts, you guys would go all over me. Oh my god, Ivan, you're fucking evil. How can you feed this kid peanuts? He's allergic to peanuts. And then when Ivan, who's what? Ivan, who's not compatible with STDs, you force him to have sex with dirty woman. All of a sudden, that's okay because you guys are actors. You're actors. You act like good people, but in reality, you're wicked people. You're nothing but actors, obviously. When it comes to IMVG, all morality is out the window. You're a true demonic nature shows you don't care. I don't care if Ivan dies. I don't care if a car messes his life. I don't care if Ivan's holy and we force. I don't care if Ivan's holy. You have him have sex with all these dirty women when you know I'm fucking holy because you guys are what? You guys are messed up, crazy people, obviously. You know I'm holy. You know I'm not a fan of STDs, and you're gonna force me to have sex with all these dirty women because you guys are what? You guys are crazy psychopaths, and you're reprobate. You're reprobate. You're nothing but a reprobate mess that me and my wife made. Show my counter here.